Hey TCS TV viewers, it's Dave and Evelyn from the camera store with the brand new Panasonic G95.
So this is Panasonic's latest in their SLR form factor style of camera. Features a 20 megapixel sensor and 5-axis of stabilization.
Yes, it also is souped up with a lot of new video features, so we took it ice fishing for a field test. We're going to start off with video on this camera because although it's a great hybrid option, it's really optimized for video. Finally, they've incorporated some dedicated outputs, including a headphone jack and mic jack.
Yeah, now it does shoot 4K video at 24 and 30 frames per second with a heavy crop factor, but it also shoots 1080 up to 120 frames per second. So if you love the slow motion, this is a very, very competent camera.
It also has a fully articulating screen, and so we took this camera vlogging.
Hey guys, it's Dave and Evelyn. We are in Spray Lakes. It's about an hour's drive from Calgary, and we are going to try our first attempt at ice fishing.
Yeah, we were a little nervous that the ice wasn't going to be thick enough, but we dug the auger down and it's about 24 inches deep.
Yeah, I worked up a bit of a sweat. Nobody told me it was a manual auger, so...
Yeah, it took like 2 minutes.
Well, 2 minutes to dig a hole.
But I feel like this is a good point for us to mention that our videographer likes going fishing and he likes taking us on adventures.
Yes, we hired him because he's a manly man.
Manly man. Vlogging with this camera was really easy to do because of this dedicated record button. So even if you're out shooting stills and you want to get a quick video clip, all you have to do is hit that record button and you're in video. Now, if you're a more serious videographer, I'll let you know that what we were shooting in was 420 8-bit right to the memory card. Nothing fancy, we were in standard profile. This camera does have Vlog-L installed right in the camera that you can record to a card, but it doesn't have our favorite, which is like 709 profile built into it. If you're someone that wants to record externally through HDMI, you'll get 422 8-bit, but there is a compromise. You actually lose some of your autofocusing performance, so much so that it actually gives you a warning right on the screen saying that you're going to lose that performance.
Keep in mind, this is a pre-production camera. We're hoping that these problems will be resolved in final firmware. Panasonic uses contrast autofocus system featuring depth from defocus technology. So depth from defocus is what the DFD stands for, and this is Panasonic's technology. What it does is it uses the out of focus areas in the scene to acquire focus a little more accurately, and it works really well. Now what's nice about Panasonic is that you do have 49 autofocus areas that you can choose. I can choose a single point, or I can group a little bit bigger, a little bit larger, whatever's going to suit my shooting needs. Now, Face Detect worked incredibly well. I also found that the tracking was really impressive. You can tell that there's a lot going on behind the scenes here that make this technology work. So one thing that I'm finding a little bit is to change my autofocus points, I need to touch the rear screen and then I can use the D-pad to move it around, or I can use the touchscreen itself. But I would rather have a proper joystick like the GH5 has. Is this actually a G95?
Yes, it is a G95. I know because the bottom plate says it is, but of course, if you look at this camera, it looks very similar to the predecessor, the G85. There is one little giveaway. There's 3 new dedicated buttons on the top, one for white balance, ISO, and exposure compensation.
Now, I really like this addition, and what I've liked what they've done too is put the buttons at little different levels and some different tactile feels to it. White balance is a little bit higher, ISO's got a little nubs on it, and the exposure compensation button is a little more flat. So I can easily, without taking my eye from the viewfinder, tell which button I'm pushing and I'm going to make a change too.
Yeah. Now, of course, the dials are really nice. They're really rugged. It feels high quality in your hands. And overall, the feel of this camera, it's a little bit bigger than a lot of the other mirrorless cameras. You have a nice deep grip and it kind of has more of a DSLR form factor to it.
For sure. Now, I generally like a little bigger, heavier camera in my hands, but this camera we found when we were playing around with it for vlogging, this was fantastic because you weren't shaky as quick.
No, it's a more stable platform and it's great for vlogging because you're able to do everything basically one-handed operation. So ice fishing, the excitement I think is over until we get a fish because we've been waiting here for tens of minutes by this hole, just waiting for the fish to bite. And so far there has been no biting of the fish. You guys, I think I got something. yes, the GoPro.
Yesterday was a very bright sunny day and we're out in the middle of this frozen lake. Tons of snow, is incredibly bright to shoot in. So the rear screen can sometimes be a little bit more problematic to look through. As good as this one is, I love having an electronic viewfinder as an option when I'm shooting these style of cameras.
Yeah, and this viewfinder has good eye relief. It's further away from the body compared to a lot of other cameras. So if you're a glasses wearer, and you also don't have to push your nose right up against the screen, which is kind of nice. It is an OLED. It's nice and bright, and it has a 2.36 million dot resolution.
Now the rear screen we found very, very responsive. Wherever I touch, wherever I move it, it goes straight away.
Now, as far as power goes, we were obviously in the cold and we were shooting a lot of video, and so we went through our battery fairly fast. However, this camera does have a power saving option that can get you up to 900 shot SEPA, and so it is pretty flexible with the power consumption. Another thing in regards to power is that we've come to expect that cameras now can charge through USB. This one also powers through USB, so if you're traveling, you're on the go, or shooting a lot of video, you have some power flexibility. It also has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, giving you those options that we've all come to expect with cameras like this.
Now, some features that I really love about Panasonic is things like their 4K photo mode. Granted, it's at 8 megapixels, with still decent enough resolution for most of your social media needs and even some printing. But it allows you to capture those fleeting moments you might not be able to capture with 9 frames per second even.
Yeah, it goes up to 30 frames per second. Oh, and don't forget that Panasonic has an awesome time-lapse capability. It's right on the dial and can build a video file in camera while still saving your original JPEGs.
This is very cool. So it also has 4K live cropping in video. And this is really cool because it simulates camera motion without actually moving the camera.
Yeah, it's really cool. And this is one thing that Panasonic does so well, is using 4K technology to give you some great creative options. Now, of course, what this means for the menu system is that the menus are quite deep, and it is a little bit different compared to other camera systems. So if you're new to Panasonic, this is definitely going to be an open your manual kind of camera, so you can take advantage of all those new technologies. It's really nice to see that Panasonic has stayed true to the commitment to continue with Micro Four Thirds. Now, when they released the S1 and S1R, their full frame sensor cameras, we weren't really sure what was going to happen with this lineup, but it's great that they've been able to upgrade it.
Yeah, this is a great hybrid camera for both videographers and photographers.
Yeah, and you can see from the image quality here that color is really nice. We like the skin tones. Contrast and resolution is great. Now, of course, with the optics, Micro Four Thirds optics are quite nice as well.
Yeah, you do want to try and keep your ISOs down just a little bit. Micro Four Thirds sensors don't do great at higher ISOs.
As a hybrid camera, the G95 is a really compelling option for photographers or videographers that really want to grow with their work.
Yeah, I mean, this camera is packed with features. On the video side, the 4K, you do have to contend with a pretty heavy crop though.
Yeah, now they do kit this with a 12 to 60 millimeter lens, and so you do have a wide enough angle for vlogging.
Yeah, now other than that, this camera is packed with all kinds of features that I really like. I love the 4K photo mode. I love the 4K video. It has a single card slot, but it is UHS 2 compatible.
Yes, and it's not the sexiest camera on the shelf.
No, Panasonic isn't known for their sexy looking cameras, but it is incredibly functional. Every button has something labeling to it. You know what everything is. It's very logically laid out, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and it feels really good in your hand. The grip is quite nice, and it's a really nice stable platform. Overall, I mean, I think it would be a great camera for people, whether they're beginners or people that want to get a little bit more serious about their craft.
Yeah, we had a great time ice fishing with it yesterday.
Yes, we did. We didn't really catch any fish,
We
though.
had more ice watching, I think I would call it.
We dug some nice little holes and appreciated the vistas around us, but we did catch some nice photos.
Wow, that was a bit cheesy.
Yeah, well, we hope you guys enjoyed our early review of the Panasonic G95. Let us know what you think of it by commenting below.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram.
And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that notification dial so that we can catch you guys again really soon. See ya!